Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pinnacle. Today we have Andrew Astor. He's an actor, producer. He's been in Insidious 1, 2, and the upcoming fifth one, which will be out next year in July. He's been in the Hangover. He's now shifting his focus more on the producing side of things. So we get into the acting, we get into the producing, and we get into his opinion on networking, relationships, and everything in between. And I always forget to promote the things that I'm actually doing producing wise on this podcast. So right now I just released my new sample gallery. It's called the Zenith Gallery. The link's in the description. The first sample pack is out. There are only 20 copies being sold publicly. 5 copies were sent out to people for free privately. I spent a lot of time and effort on it. There's an A side and B side. There are samples on my Instagram. As always, we're still growing, so everything helps. Subscribing, sharing, all of that. But I'll leave the rest to you. I hope that this brings you value.
Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Astor. I'm a music producer, songwriter, and actor in LA. Graduated from 1500 Sound Academy last year, and yeah, if you don't know me, I acted in Insidious in 1, 2, and then the 5th one coming out. I was in the Hangover and a bunch of other stuff. And then for music side of it, just been starting out past like 2 years, gotten to work with some cool people through 1500, and yeah, just trying to build it up.
Yeah, man. So, I have so many questions for you because you're one of those people that I've more recently, especially in LA, got to meet. So I've barely really gotten to know you, right? So yeah. So I'm really excited for this. One of the things that I want to get into first really is just how you grew up. I am always curious about, where people kind of came from, what, and if anything kind of influenced your decision to go into, certain types of arts, certain creative endeavors. So yeah, just kind of fill me in on your background a little bit.
So basically, I grew up I didn't grow up. I was born in Arizona, and the way I got into acting was kind of funny because my sister, like, she always, like, whenever people asked in like class, my mom would always tell me like everyone wanted to be like a doctor or like something. My sister always wanted to be like in the arts, like in acting or something to do with entertainment. And so my mom ended up getting her like some not auditions in Arizona, but like headshots and like photos to get done for acting. And I went with them just to like, because I just couldn't be home alone. I was so young. So I was with my mom, and the lady wanted to take a picture of me because she thought I looked good for like this movie that they were filming in Arizona. It was like I was like basically in the movie for like 1 second, but it was just like a good opportunity. So I did it, and I like loved being on set. And then I ended up like asking my mom if we could come to LA for like 6 months. So we were only going to come to LA for 6 months, but then I ended up getting like a lot of auditions and booking stuff, and we've been here ever since. So then I grew up out here, acted a lot as a kid. Stopped acting when I went to high school because I just want to take a break and like focus on like something else for once.
Yeah, of course.
But that was probably like the best thing I could have done, because if I never done that, I never would have found music, because through a lot of different things that happened, I just ended up finding music in college and then been doing that ever since. But yeah, so I grew up most of my life in LA, like moving around a lot, auditioning. But I don't think I'm ever gonna leave, honestly, until I probably will leave LA eventually, but probably not for a while, just because of how much stuff is out here, like opportunities, friends.
Yeah, so let's just kind of get into that real quick, because I saw a tweet recently about someone kind of complaining about LA being super fake.
It is.
So
fake.
What's okay, yeah.
Definitely,
so I want
fake.
your take on this. You've been there for a while, so I want what do like when people say that, what do they mean? Because I feel like that could entail a lot of different things. What do they mean when they say that? Or at least what's your, meaning when you say that?
I feel like people always say LA is so fake is because, one, like the people from LA can be fake. And then 2, there's so many different people coming to LA, like from all types of different places. And there's always going to be those people that come to LA trying to like accomplish, like everyone's coming to LA to accomplish some kind of dream. No one, like, it's really rare for people to just come to LA and not have like some kind of motive. You feel me? It's not like one of those states or cities where like California is big. There's a lot of places in California, but LA specifically is like there's so much going on in the entertainment industry and so many other industries. It's like you're coming here probably for work. So, and a lot of people in the entertainment industry are trying to like make their own path and try to do their thing. And a lot of times people can do things to people and I realize some people are just oblivious, but some people know what they're doing. But a lot of times you get like a lot of situations with people where just like they can come off as really fake. And I've seen it with people acting fake towards me, and just it's how it goes. You got to kind of just charge it to the game at some point, and kind of just
Yeah.
like understand that's how the business is. But don't fall into
Mm.
that trap. Like it's really easy for people to like to get burnt a lot and then start to be that the person who burnt them and start to be like them. It's important, like to while you're in LA, to always stay true to yourself.
Yeah, I know. And I've heard a lot of people say, especially if they're really in the music scene, like everything they're doing is all in the music scene, or, whatever it might be, that whatever specific area they might be, they really appreciate having friends outside of that.
It
They
helps.
appreciate having, yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, so okay, you found acting kind of like through your sister in a way,
Yeah.
or her did she end up acting as well? I don't know if you went into that much. Did she
Oh
end up
yeah, she did.
staying?
She came out with us.
Yeah.
She acted, but it was like just the wrong time. It's like when you're a kid acting, and like it's like there's so specific time periods for like young like male act like child actors that are like boys to act versus like girls, because there's girls and but guys mature very differently. So like
Mm,
it's always better when you look like really young as a child, and I got that blessing that I look really young, so I was able to
mm.
like really just like take that and go for it. Also, like as an actor, I also like to like not like as an actor, I like to be in front of the scenes, but music wise,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
behind the scenes is
Right.
fire.
See, that's interesting too, because I feel like acting and certain roles, certain occupations, especially in the creative side, attract different types of personalities, right? Usually, generally, right? So then,
Lots.
like, yeah, so like, for you being in front of a camera, but then also really wanting to be on the backside of things, and not just appreciating, but actually wanting to be in that, like on the producing end, is kind of interesting. Um, when you came out to LA, I mean, again, we don't have to get into it too much, but I am curious. It sounds like your parents, or at least your mom, like she was very supportive.
Very. She's always been like so. My parents have always been like so supportive of like everything I like. I'm always like passionate about. Like sometimes they're like they'll be supportive, but they won't be like super like supportive. But like when it came to like music, like when I picked that up, they were like so supportive, and they like
Hmm.
and even when I first started, like it may not have been good, but they just like believed in me. And then as I started to like improve, they like would just believe in me more and more, and they even helped me like get into like go to this music school, 1500 Sound Academy, and
Hmm.
that was amazing. That was like a really amazing experience. Like it would be the only music school I'd probably ever go to, or school for anything really. Like because I'm not really like a school person. Like I dropped out of college and everything, but like if I was going to school,
Yeah.
it'd be that school. Like it's so nice.
Wow. Okay. So this is really cool, because I find that a lot of people that go, and you need to tell me more about the school, because I really don't know
Definitely.
much about it. But a lot of people that go to school for music specifically, I shouldn't even say a lot, but at least the minority that I've talked to, a lot of the time they usually say something along the lines of, "It was really great, but if I had the choice of going again, maybe I wouldn't go again." So hearing this from you, especially knowing the type of person that you are, and how productive you've been, in your careers, yeah, just kind of explain that to me. Like, what makes you say that, especially choosing, you dropped out of college once, already. What were you taking when you dropped out?
So I was majoring in business and communications at Cal State Channel Islands, and
Mm,
I found out about 1500 my first week because I went super early. Just started making beats. It was like my first week making beats. I was at the dorms before everyone got there, and I like saw this video on YouTube like of Genius Nick Muir like deconstructed and like started like
right.
diving into that. Then I saw this Netflix show called Rhythm and Flow, and it had 1500 in the first episode. So I like
Mm,
found out and I called them. I was like calling them every day trying to like figure out when I could like apply. And I told my mom, I was like, if I get into this school, I want to drop out of college and go. And she was like, you got to finish.
wow.
She like, you got to finish at least 1 year. And I was like, I don't know. I really don't know if I could do a whole year here. Because I was just like every time I went to class, I couldn't produce on my laptop. Only on my desktop. So when I was in class, I would just be on my laptop with my headphones on in the back watching YouTube videos about how to make beats.
That's amazing.
So I wasn't even like
uh
taking the classes. And then
that's so good. Mm,
and of course, like when I first was like calling there trying to get in, it was like I was always so sus about it because they were so low key. Like 1500, like now they're like more like they're more like in the face of people. But when they first started, they were like super low key. Like when I called them, they only
okay.
had one class. They were like they were in the first class. Still, when I was trying to apply, like
Right.
they just started the first class like ever. Like when I went on to college online, I just dropped out. I was like, I'm not doing these online classes.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, I'm just gonna wait for 1500 because I never got officially accepted, but they were like, hey, like we can't make it official, but like you're 100% gonna be here
Ah,
type shit.
interesting. Okay, okay.
So I was like, I'm just waiting, and then Corona made everything so slow. Like it made everything just so slow. So I had to wait so long, and they were like understaffed, so I couldn't talk to them as much as I wanted to like the confirmation of what's going on.
Right.
But then they did online class in 2020. I'll be honest, like for me, online classes just don't work for anything. I just feel like
Mm.
it separates me too much, especially like if I'm wanting to do something really like passionate about something. I feel like I have to be there, especially like the studios, they have to be on person. But I did the
Right,
online
right.
class just because of Corona. But then I went back when the Corona, like for the first class when there's in person, and that changed everything. Like the amount of people that would come through to the school, like high level people, like Gunna and his manager came through, like Sweetie came through. Like Sweetie was in my class for like
That's
30 days, like taking writing class because they were like working on their album.
what? That's crazy.
Like it was the coolest stuff, and like and the amount of stuff you would just get to learn, like from production to like the business to branding, and also like all the students that come in there are so fire, so you get to get a whole network of like really talented people that are not like super famous. Some people come in and are pretty famous, but some people are like me and you, like we're just still like upcoming, trying to grind. And there's so many like talented artists, producers, engineers. It's like a whole network. And then you really like, and they always invite you back for events. It's like family for real. It's like they really care.
So, yeah, this is really, really interesting to me, man. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, we're only like 14, 13 minutes in. And for me personally, this is huge because, again, all I've, usually heard is, negative things about going to school, any school for
Same,
music, really.
even
Right.
for
So,
acting schools too, like all kinds of
right.
schools.
Right. Yeah. So, exactly. No, that's actually very true. It's really all kinds of schools. Um, and so I had an artist that I was working with and kind of helping him, like developing him and stuff. And he knows he's my boy, but he knows that initially when he told me that he wanted to go to school for music, I was like, oh man, like I'm not really sure, like whatever you do, I'm gonna support. I'm never, but just really really consider this, right?
Yeah,
And I kind of just pointed to a couple things that I knew from other people, right? So obviously I didn't have experience. Anyways, he ended up going, and he has like kind of a mixed experience. Like he told me all the great things, which I didn't really expect. All the benefits that he pointed out were super 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 beneficial for him. And even his like where he's at in his craft is crazy right now compared to where he was.
where'd he
So I
go?
can't take. He went to a school in Toronto called. I'll have to include it somewhere after the podcast. It's on the tip of my tongue. I was in their studio like last month. It's so
That's
sad.
fire.
I should know. Yeah, but so it's a school in Toronto. And yeah. So I mean, again, he had his like kind of ups and downs, and they're also quite small, so it's not like a huge, school. So, but anyways, it's really interesting to hear your experience. Um, and especially like those writing classes and everything like
It's
Gunna and
fire.
his manager coming, like everything, all of that is really really interesting that they would have that going on, because that's that says enough. But yeah, so okay, that's when you actually got into music. That's really interesting. Were you always like, when I don't know if you kind of mentioned when you first got into it, but were you always kind of interested in it? Were you listening to music a lot
I
growing
loved
up?
music growing up. Like I always
Hmm.
wanted to like when I was younger, I'd always loved listening to music. Like I started listening to I think the first people I listened to was like Guns N' Roses when I was like really young
Yeah.
because my family really liked that and I would listen to them. And then as I got older, I started listening to some Timbaland, some like Justin Timberlake. Then my mom would put me on like Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Kanye. Like and then like my sister would show me like new people like ASAP Rocky, Uzi. So I started like build up
Hmm.
my like the music I really loved based around my family and like what they would show me. But my mom really helped me like really like know different types of genres because she would like she never said I wanted to do music or nothing as a kid. She would just be like so adamant about showing me different types of music from like Bob Marley to like Kanye to like I can't even remember some of these people, but like they're just older songs. Like I think like if you're like the group called like TLC,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
just songs like that, songs that
yeah.
that I'm older, I'm like I can sample these songs, I can take inspiration from these songs and like all types of stuff. And like she still sends me songs, and it's like
Oh, that's cool.
But I always want, but even when I started listening to more rap, I always wanted like, damn, I wish I could like be a rapper. I wish I could like find a way to do music somehow. But I never knew what a producer was or like even an A&R or anything like that. So I was like, damn, I don't know if I could do all that.
Right, right.
But
Yeah, I know what you mean. Hmm.
and I just
And
ended
so
up
wait,
loving it.
yeah, and how old are you
22.
again? 22. Okay, got you. I ask only because of the music. You know, I'm just curious because even like a couple years difference, I find changes like
Oh,
what
for
type of
real.
music people listen to for so. Um, okay, so you end up going to 1500. Um, how long were you there for, and like was the program like you knew how long you were going for initially, and you went for that long, or
I
how'd that end up
wanted, so
going?
it's only 6 months. Like the whole program is 6 months, but you can only do like month. You can do like certain months, like 'cause each month's different. But I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do a whole year. I wanted to go twice when I first did it.
Mm.
So I was like I'm gonna get a year lease in my apartment. I might as well move in there for a year, go there for a year, and then see
Yep.
what happens. But then Corona happened. Ooh, my bad. Then Corona happened. So I was like, so I did the online, and then I ended up doing a year, just not the year, 1 year in person, just one half of it online, half of it in person. So I'm probably gonna be back there, probably next year. But
Mm-hmm.
I just got sidetracked. What was the point of the question?
No, you're good. I was just asking. You answered it. I was just asking if how long you were there and how long you intended to be there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um,
I tend to be there
yes,
like my whole life on it, not like in school, but like just a part of like the family and just like because there's
right.
always gonna be new. They always have events, like just always have stuff going on.
What would you say like if someone was considering going to school for music, right? Let's say they've never like produced or anything,
Okay.
and they want to go get into producing. Like, if you were to convince them to go to 1500? Like, what would you present to them? What would, or maybe even the main selling point? Like, what would you use to kind of convince them?
Personally, I would tell them like if it was like my friend and I knew him, I knew he was like had a drive and he had the potential but wasn't fully there. I would
Exactly. Yeah.
say you could go there and learn, or you could really practice one thing, like practice engineering, producing, songwriting, practice one thing that you're going to learn there. Already go there being good at it, then learn the rest of it so you already look like you're good in one thing because at the end of the day, you got to shine. There's a lot of people there.
Mm,
You gotta stand out somehow. Like you can't just be like you can't because my goal of going there was just be another student that just went there and left. I wanted to make my mark and like be known and like come back. You feel me?
right.
So if you can, so I got lucky where because I would have went during COVID for the first 6 months. My beats were
Mhm.
good, but they weren't how they are now. And when I went there like 8 months ago when I for the in person. So I got lucky enough to like really practice over COVID and wait for it to open up and like really get better. So when I go there, I learned a lot more about producing, obviously, and a lot about engineering and everything else. But the beats were already good enough to where they would like if people heard them would catch their attention.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I would tell them like you could go and learn and like still come out great, but if you just hone in on like producing and like get good at beat making and then go there and then see where you can go from and then build off that, it'll be way better, in my opinion.
That is such a yeah. That's a really really insightful take on that, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I think one of the biggest strengths that any school really has is, excuse me, you get a group of people that for the most part they're quite passionate, or they're in the same realm of what you're trying to do. So the networking is a huge part of any school if you make it that way. And so it's interesting that you kind of talk about leaving your mark, and like really, you want to make sure it would be beneficial if you could go there and shine, and get the benefits out of the education. um, when it comes to networking, because I feel like this is one area where you're really good at, and this is an area that in at least where I've done mine, like I'm really proud of. But I obviously, like when I went to LA, it was a different ball game in terms of just watching, because I love observing and like learning from people. And even the first day, bro, like learning from Tyler, and just not that he was going out of his way to teach me, but just observing.
Seeing how he moves and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So what would you say? And obviously I got to spend a little time with you too, and I appreciated the way that you were approaching just meeting everybody and
The
coming into
session
the
was so
session.
funny. That session where Tyler brought the sandwiches.
Yes, yes, that session, bro. That one. Yes.
That was fire.
That was actually hilarious. I'm gonna see if I can like pull up those, because I have a couple of videos from that session.
You
Uh
should get them. That shit was funny.
Did you buy one of his sandwiches?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I don't really like jelly that much, but if I did, I probably would. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. Anyways, I'll play those when I find them. But yeah. So what would networking tips like? Is that, and also not only on top of that, I mean, it sounds like you're quite aware when you go into something, you're being quite deliberate. So building a network, is that something that you're very focused on when you went there and have been, or is that
Hmm.
something that just kind of happened naturally because of how you are? What can you tell
It
me
kind of
about that?
mix of both. I feel like naturally, like I can be very like isolated sometimes and like introverted, but also like when I'm outside, I naturally just become like learn how to network. Sometimes I just do not want to go up to people. But if I'm like
Right.
around like musicians, like if I'm in the studio, if I'm in the right environment, like how I'm at that school, that's when I feel like comfortable and I can just network. Like when I'm at certain events, I don't feel like comfortable just going to a bunch of people because I feel like it's just not the right time. But when you're like in the studio or at this school, like networking can feel really so easy, and it's really important because like even back before the school, I would always be on Twitter trying to network, and that's how I met literally everyone I know before 1500 is really through Twitter and Instagram.
Mhm.
And you can network so well on there. It can be really hard sometimes networking over social media. You just have to like it's really important to catch people's attention and just be consistent and catching up with people because it can be really easy to like fall out of touch with people. And I feel like the biggest
Right.
thing with networking and keeping good relationships with people, because I notice this a lot of people do this with me, they only hit me up when they need something, or they only hit me up
Mm.
when something goes awry, which is fine.
Mm.
But if you want to get actual like good relationships with people and like connections, just check in with people and just like tap in, see how they're doing, or just have a conversation. I don't always have to be like about music or about anything. It could just be about
Right.
whatever. And it's easier to do that in person. Like it's not easy. Like if you're in person, you can just like catch up. You can see people and you can just it's like I'm seeing you here randomly. Like one time I remember I was going to like get my ears. You know who Don Midori is?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I remember I was going to get my ears, no, the earwax out my ears, and I just seen him in like the parking garage randomly, and it was like his first time in
That's
LA in
so
three
good.
months, and like we got to say what's up to
Oh,
each other. And I was like, bro, like just random shit. He was like coming there for his brother to do something. I forgot what it was, but yeah, like LA is like the place you can just see it. You never know who you can see. You could run into your homie. You could run into LeBron James. Like, you really don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. My last day there, someone connected me with a producer. Funny enough, who actually is from Toronto, so I could have met him here anytime, but I just ended up like seeing him in LA. We had a nice conversation, and it's like a very like that conversation shaped a lot of things for me, especially like how I'm kind of approaching certain things right now. So it is really cool how that works, and in person is again like that just speaks to it. I could have hit him up. I could even went to him in Toronto. I could have hit him up on social media. I could have, and he would have replied and all that. But
When you meet
the
someone in person, it's different. Like
exactly, yeah, the energy you
it's
get
really
is just
different.
different.
'Cause I feel like also like for me, like I am like also gonna probably connect with people easier in person than if they would approach me in the internet. Even though I still would, but it'd be a
Hmm.
much faster process just because when I meet someone in person, I'm really big on energy and I can really feel people's energy. Maybe not the very first time people can be like ambiguous about their energy, but over time you can really tell like someone's a genuine person or if they're like or if they're not, or if you shouldn't keep them around,
Yeah,
or if they shouldn't like be that close to you. And I feel like it's hard
very
sometimes
true.
over social media because people can like paint a whole different picture over social media and be a weirdo or be like a dick.
Yes. No, that's so true. I totally agree on the energy, man. And I just love meeting people in person too, and like just like feeling them out and like even observing, like I said. So all of that plays into that. Um. So okay, you're acting, and you're like even now, right? I'm kind of you said you're focused on music now, like fully, or at least for the time being.
I'm always
Um.
yeah, always gonna always be focused on music. I think I just like
Right.
really lost my inspiration for it for a minute,
Right.
and then
Well,
also
no, I'm
time gets busy. That also can help
right.
inspiration lose.
No, I mean, I don't want to, for sure. Like, of course, I think it's really interesting that you had that fallback. Not even fall. I mean, I guess fallback. Like, if your
It felt like a little
inspiration's
bit, yeah.
right, yeah. Like, if your inspiration's gone and you have that, it's really cool that that's an outlet that you're able to have, or were able to have at that time. I'm sure it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to acting, like, does that feel more like a job to you, or is it still just as, no, this is like, I love doing this, I'm gonna every single day, like how does that work?
I feel like when I was a kid, at first it didn't, but it started to slowly feel like a job, and I started to just get bored of it. But now that I
Hmm.
came back and I've been doing it, like I've been having so much fun. Like learning the
Yeah,
scripts and then going to film was amazing. Then coming back and like having like a lot of auditions and just new scripts and like, and then they put me in like an acting class for like was it like a month or something. That was really fun to be around just like
that's
actors
dope.
because I haven't been around like I've been around a bunch of musicians. I've really been around actors. So it's like a whole
Mm,
different environment and a whole different vibe. Like it's crazy how different the vibe is. Like it's totally
right.
different. So
That's
I'd
awesome.
like change how I was. I had to change like my not my persona, but just like how I like would approach people because it's way
Of
different
course.
than when you're in the studio. They're really like just like low key, but like really just chill people, and like they weren't, and they
Right.
but then like the. It's hard to explain really, so you have to really experience it. It's
Well, I
like
think I know like kind of what I was in. I went to like some. My friend was this. He do open mics. So on the last week in LA, I went to a bunch of. I love
like
stand
he
up
sings.
comedy.
Oh,
So
he's comedy. That's fine.
yeah, yeah,
Fine.
yeah. So yeah, I love comedy. So being in LA, like I had to, and he knows like so many people at these comedy venues. So we were able to get like really dope, get into places we weren't always,
That's
supposed to
fire.
be if it was bad, whatever, that, yeah. So it was cool. But being at those open mics, he warned me ahead of time. He's like, man, it's like these can get really weird and really
Really?
uncomfortable. Yeah, yeah, they can get really uncomfortable because it's like usually a really, really small room. It's a very small group of people. So
To be like
even if
roasting
the
people in the audience.
oh bro, it gets wild. Like, because the thing is, like, he kept warning me, and the first one we went to, it was good. Like, it was good. And he's like, honestly, bro, I feel almost bad that it was your first open mic because, like, I didn't do anything. I was just watching. But
This is
he said he felt
experience.
bad. Yeah, but he said he felt bad because it was a good one. And he's like, I don't want you to expect this in the future.
Oh,
And I
I
was like,
see what you're
okay.
saying.
Yeah, so I went to a different one with him, and it made sense because one of the things that when they start to bomb up there, like they get really awkward sometimes,
I've
and
been in
then
one where it's been
that's
so awkward. I was like, oh my god. But it was funny though. It was like I was laughing at it, like
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
bad, but
yeah. No, I had a great time. Like I was, anyways. But I know what you mean because even the people I was meeting, like through him outside of there, and like through these venues, and we also met some like bigger comedians there too,
that's hard.
and it was great, man. Yeah, he knew a lot of. It was actually like wild how many people he knew, but um, just seeing the different way that they interact there, and seeing the different again, like I was in the studios where there was a bunch of hip hop producers, and now I'm in these like
Bunch of
comedy venues.
comedians. It's way
Exactly, and
different,
like totally, I'm
and I
trying to
feel like they're
approach
more
them the same
social
way.
too. Like when I was at the acting class, like they're like so social. Because I feel like when I'm in the studio, people
Yeah,
can be really antisocial and just like watch what they say a
yeah.
lot. But I feel like when I was with these bunch of actors, they were just really open and they're like hell, and they were just really funny. I feel like one thing I noticed my comedy and like the things I would do, I noticed a lot of them they were doing too. And usually I'd be the only one being like really funny in the studio a lot of the time. So like me and my homies, a few homies I cook up with can be hilarious. So they'd be really
Yeah,
funny too. But then when I was in the acting class, they're like all just I'm like laughing constantly. It's like I can't even make a
yeah,
joke because they're
yeah,
just fucking cracking me up.
yeah,
So it definitely is
yeah,
a
man.
funny difference, but it's cool though.
Mm.
It's a nice
One of the
environment.
things I
My bad.
One of the things I want to, no, you're good. You're good. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about though is your opinion on traveling for your career or just progressing in life or whatever, right? Tyler talked about it a little bit and people seem to really resonate with it. So I want your opinion, and obviously like don't feel swayed anyway, but I'm curious to see what you think.
I feel like traveling is really important. Like even for working for just yourself, like traveling is like one of the best things you can do for your mind is like seeing different like
Mm,
environments, different parts of the world. That's one thing I really want to do is like make traveling kind of like my work, like going to different places to work on music or acting, or just
mm-hmm,
to like work on yourself. Like I have a friend who's been like he was lucky enough he would travel like the whole world so young, like not the whole world, but like almost the whole world. And his
mm-hmm,
mind and how he sees different things and how he like approaches life because of the different environments and different types of people he's seen and been around. Like he's been to like tribes, he's been to like big cities, like all types of different things. And I feel like it's really important for people to see a lot of this stuff. 'Cause I feel like a lot of people can get trapped in like their own little city or trapped in LA or trapped in just like America a lot. And like the world is
mm-hmm,
so big and it's so different. I feel like traveling is
mm-hmm,
important. And also for your work, like if you're blessed enough to travel for work and like go to different cities and different countries, states, like you're living like one of the dreams of many people because you're getting paid to travel. Like, you don't have to pay for that, and you also and if,
Mm.
especially if you're doing what you love, like if you're doing it for music and you love it, acting, anything, business, like that sounds so fun. Like just being able to travel and work.
Hmm. Yeah.
I know a lot of people also do travel out, like commute to LA for work. Like a lot of people that in the
Right.
music industry like be commuting. So I know people that even drive up
Right.
from San Diego. There was a homie in my class at 5000. He would fly from Miami to LA every weekend. Every
Wow, that's
weekend. Because he
crazy.
was working in Miami, he was making enough money to do it. Like he was making money
Yeah.
on gigs and stuff out in Miami, but he also was going to 1500 out here, and he was doing more stuff out here and
Wow.
making money. But seeing people like that with that's a whole different ethic. Like there's traveling for
Yeah.
business and that's blessed, but then there's people that like are on like a different time. It's a whole grind, like a whole different respect for that dude for real. Like being able to
A hundred
travel, it's
percent.
crazy. But I knew people that were
Yeah.
even doing like stuff like still crazy stuff, but like that stuff is the crazy. That's the craziest like grind I've seen. But like I've seen people like drive from San
Yeah.
Diego, drive 4 hours plus, not even just for school, but like for sessions, for all types of shit. So like if you can do it, it's worth it to be able to travel to like if you're like near LA or like Atlanta or like a big like New York, a big city with a lot of opportunities. It's worth it if you can travel because you're
Yeah.
again like how we were talking about being in person. People like showing face is so important. Like letting
So
people know your
real, man.
face. It's like it's
That's
branding
it.
too. It's part of branding.
It's real, man. That's literally like the biggest reason I went. Like it's just I've made all these connections. People know me. I've shown my face enough online that people know what I look like. But like you said, not the same. I
It's
had to
another thing.
do
A
it,
lot of people
and
don't show their face online. Producers, et cetera, that just their pages don't look like a person. It look like some people. I remember one person who told me some people's pages look like promotion pages because they're just like other
yeah.
stuff. It's like it's so important to show your face. I know a lot of people get like may have other reasons why they don't want to, but just my advice would just be say fuck it, just do it because then they were all
Mm,
human and like if people are gonna if you're not want to show your face, you don't want to be judged. Like fuck it, people are judging. Like they're probably projecting.
mm,
They're probably insecurities themselves. You feel me?
mm. Yeah, no, it's real, man. And I actually, it's so cool to like. I feel like these things come up over and over again. I had like this is advice that I'd heard people giving years ago, and I'd been giving and I'd been taking years ago, and then now I just had a call with this producer. He's an up and coming producer, and he just messaged me today actually saying like the talk really helped him. But one of the things that we touched on was he was kind of asking about like how do I network better, how do I continue to and then the first thing I said was, well, like I know your Instagram page, like you haven't, like this is the first time I'm seeing your face is this call, so like just get your face out there. And we had the exact same conversation, and it really resonated. But to hear that an A&R, did you say from Interscope was
Yeah.
was saying this? Yeah, like that. And I also just posted a clip where I interviewed Mini Producer, and he said the same thing.
It's important to show
So,
your face. It's important,
exactly,
and to
yeah.
be
So
consistent on posting too. If you're not in person,
yes,
if you're even if you are in person, even me, I need to be more consistent on posting. So one thing I want to do in the new year is like post more on TikTok, Instagram, because that's important. Not even just showing your face, but just showing your work and showing your face, doing both of it. Because there's another person I forgot who it was, but they said that if they're looking if they see people DM them trying to work and they look at their page and they like see they haven't that like if the last post says like months ago, like kind of like how mine says, like they won't even take it
yeah,
seriously. That was another thing that made
yeah.
me realize I need to like just consistently post. It's crazy how important social media is, but you got to use it.
That's me too, man. I'm the same. I'm the exact same. Like
I just don't know what to post sometimes. Like, you guys just want to hear beats, I guess.
yeah, I have like a formula now that I like where I just like post pictures and like but every other one is like a beat or a new beat or
Yeah, I was
a
doing that
melody.
too.
I think that's like a
It's a
really
good
good way to do
formula.
it. Yeah, but again, it's the same. I need to just do it way more because it's
I was thinking of
like,
honestly, like, because I play like a
yeah,
lot of video games. I used to always play
yeah,
video games, but I've been playing like some more. I've been playing like Fortnite, 2K, Madden, Warzone, like all types of shit. I was thinking about
right.
just can I get crazy clips? I was thinking about low key getting like clips and just like putting beats behind them and post
Do
it
it
on TikTok.
100%. Bro, I think the reason, bro, like I think you should. I was gonna say like that you should 100 like just go do it because I think too producers love like at least the ones that I know they love a
We
lot of
love
these
video
video games.
games.
Exactly. So
Rappers too.
you
Like you
know,
see T Grizzy streaming
a
GTA. Like
100%. Yeah, they fucking love that shit.
yeah,
Yeah, so definitely I think, bro, I think that'd be hard, yeah, especially if you're into it, like, why not? Cuz I think it just works like in your benefit, just
It's one thing
you're
I
like
love the
you're
game. Bro, I used to take that shit so seriously.
yeah.
That's how I got into music for real. Is because when I
Mhm.
got well, obviously like after I got went to high school,
Yeah.
played basketball, got injured. Then I was like not able to play basketball, so I started playing video games. And I used to
Mhm.
play like this game a lot called Rainbow Six Siege. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, yeah, of course,
And I used
yeah.
to take that shit seriously. Like I ended up getting a PC for it. I wanted to
Yo.
I wanted to play like at hella like and like I was getting really good at it. Like I remember I was like when I was 17, I have a screenshot. I was like ranked like number one in the world for like the rank for like
Yo,
online.
what the
And like I had that for like a month or something. Then I lost
so
it.
funny.
And I was trying to like I low key like wanted to like compete and like make money off it. So I was like, I'm too good at this, not trying to compete.
Right, right.
But then my friend who like I played with a lot, he would like live stream making beats on FL Studio, but it always looked
Mm,
so confusing. I was like, this is cool
mm,
that now I'm kind of learning more about music, but I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm just gonna keep playing video games. I remember I messed around. I guess I did kind of mess around with it before college. I made like one beat, like just it was like
right.
my first beat was kind of trash, and then I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But then when I went to college and the Wi-Fi wasn't letting me play video games as much, and I was alone, I was like, fuck it. And I saw that YouTube video I told you about. I just dove into it from there. It's funny, like you never really know what, like if certain things in your life could lead to other things. That's what I've learned in my life so far. So many
Yeah.
situations that like I'm like, damn, like it looked so bad then. Like, damn, I'm so mad. I'm injured. I can't play basketball. Like, damn, I'm so mad. I can't play this game because I'm at college. Like, you never know what that could lead to, and I'm so happy those things happened.
That's a really cool way of looking at it. I read something like the other day, which kind of it was along the same lines, which is like, when you look back at it, usually your hardest, things, or the things that you were really thinking they were detrimental at the time, are just like blessings looking
In a
back.
disguise.
Yeah, I'm curious. I love basketball. I grew up playing it too. What happened? What was your injury?
Slipped two
And
discs.
when? Oh
And I tore some ligaments in my back. Yeah, it was my first game on varsity too. I
oh
was so salty.
no
I was going up for a
way!
layup. It was in the preseason. We're even regular season. We were like in a preseason tournament. I went for a layup, and we were also on this old high school gym where like their courts, like their wood was like so bad. But it was the only thing it was
Right.
good for. It made you jump higher. For some reason, that their wood,
Mm,
everyone just jumps higher. It was weird.
I right.
And I went for a layup, and this dude came underneath my legs and like hit my legs up, so then I just fell straight on my back, and I was like, it was bad. And I was trying. I think the biggest thing I was trying so hard to get back in, and physical therapy and like all these stretches and massages and like doing so much stuff to like try and get back, and I just like never got to 100. So I'm still not 100%. Still have issues, but I'm going. Finally found a good chiropractor, so I can finally get my shit fixed.
Yeah, that's
But
tough. Those injuries are
that
like
shit was
those are tough.
painful. Like, it was times I couldn't bend. I was like in a wheelchair for like a couple weeks.
Mm,
But
yeah, no, man, that sounds painful, but it makes sense that would really affect
so I started playing video games.
you.
I was in a chair.
There you go. Yeah, it's what you got. I know so many people. That's huge too. Like video games, I know so many people that because they were unable to do like a physical sport or activity for whatever, whether it's a health reason or another, they just a lot of the times they found like solace in video games and the competitive nature of
It's about
video
to get
games
even
instead of
crazier, like
sports.
VR and AR.
What do you think of this whole like people are talking about AI? And I mean, it's doing some pretty cool stuff with photo art and pictures, but what do you think of like the skepticism with AI and art, and like if you even have an opinion? If you don't have an opinion, we can move on because it's so new.
Um,
But I'm kind of curious to see where your mind goes.
Kind of like with the AI. I don't have too much of an opinion. I just think like I think it could be useful for certain things in music, but I also
Hmm.
think like at the end of the day, like you need like people. You need that energy because music's from energy. There's a reason why music recorded on tape sounds way better than anything else because I learned this at school. Like when the tape, as crazy as it sounds, the tape brings energy from the room. Like whatever energy you're putting in is going onto that tape. That's why when you hear certain songs and you really resonate with them and they really hit you differently, because like you're not only hearing it, but you're feeling the energy that is emitting. And it's like
Hmm.
it sounds crazy, but it's so real, bro. Like that's why so
Hmm.
many people love recording on tape, and I feel like that's the same thing about when you need that energy from people, that real connection from people. When you're making music, you're gonna need that. You can't just have a bunch of AI doing it, because then you're gonna have a bunch of
Hmm.
AI listening to your music. You're not gonna have people listening to your music. And that's how it is. A lot of people be
Yeah.
buying streams, so people already have AI listening to their music.
That is such, bro. Everything you just said is yes. Like, and it's crazy because labels are like, it seems like labels are almost doing it more now. Like, it seems like they're botting, at least
Making
for
it more
music videos.
obvious.
Yeah, like
They don't
music videos
care.
apparently are just getting like crazy bot. Like, we know bots, bro. We're producers. We've seen those
We
type
get
beat
bots all the
bots.
time.
You know
I get like a
exactly.
bot
So
commenting on my Instagram post like once a day, and I haven't even posted like just old
yeah,
posts.
it's crazy, man. So yeah, seeing labels just go like blatantly, just getting more and more obvious, just paying for streams is really funny. Um, when it comes to your music career, you know, you mentioned kind of landing that one song, you know, that we're all kind of looking for. But when it comes to your career, what are some of your milestones that you want to accomplish? Is there like a central goal, or are you just kind of, you know, grinding, going with the flow, and just kind of seeing where that brings you?
I definitely got some goals.
Mm.
Like besides like from I mean my main goal is really just like one, I want to break out an artist. I want to of course I would love a Drake placement. I would love a huge placement. But my biggest thing I want to do is kind of like if those placements come if they, what I'm trying to let me say what I'm trying to do first before I get there. 1 minute, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
no, you good.
if I can like break, I want to break out an artist or break out a few artists, kind of like how Jetson did with the Baby, and like not saying Jetson made the Baby, but Jetson produced the Baby's biggest songs when it came out.
Uh-huh.
Metro and 21's another example.
Right.
I want to break out an artist, and I luckily have found some fire artists at 1500 and some outside of 1500 that I've been like able to really lock in with and work with. Shout out Stash, Ty, Brandon. I'm forgetting probably so many people. Josh, Sam, like so many people that I've met out here that I just like that are such fire artists.
Yeah.
And like I want to break them and like work with them and like produce their biggest songs. Because then if I'm going up with them, then if Drake wants to do a song with me, I'm probably gonna get a lot more compensation if I was just like my first placement was with Drake. Because then okay, this dude's clearly a producer who produced for these. It's all about building up your catalog, and also like not because if you build up your like even though like a song with Drake would be better right then and there in that moment, if you
Right.
can build up your catalog, it's gonna be a lot more. Something even better in the future, and like if you consistently can break out artists and you consistently are producing songs for artists that are blowing up in the next big artist, like this people are gonna see a reason behind that.
Yeah.
So and then also like just making good like timeless music that like people like listen to for ages and like really love and like help people and like help people's lives. That's something I really want to do is like just make timeless music. And also
Mm.
doing a tape with some like my favorite artists like Kodak would be like
Oh
I
yeah.
wish Juice WRLD was still here. He's like the
Mm.
only artist I like would die to work for, like for real.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
like my favorite artist, and there's other artists like Kodak's really a big one. I love Kodak so much.
Mm.
Funny
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Well, so I'm curious, what about Kodak, you know, what about Kodak is it that you love so much?
I just think he's so versatile. Like he can hop on any type of beat. And when I first heard Kodak when I was like 14 or maybe I was like 15, I don't know how old I was. My brother showed me him, and I was like, nah, I heard him. I was like, I don't really like. I heard like maybe one song on Instagram. I was like, I don't know. He's this new rapper. I'm like, he's cool, but I don't really know. I wasn't really fucking with it. And it's crazy. I'm like that with so many like things. I'm just like don't like it at first, but then like someone will come and really show me. I remember we drove around LA. We drove like we're all over LA, like East LA, West LA, South LA, everywhere, just for like the whole day. And he was just playing his tape for me. And then that like
Mm.
it was painting pictures. And when I heard that tape, I was like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
my god, bro, this there's no misses. I like fell in love with Kodak. I like his music,
Yeah.
and like I also just really like how he has like just different types of music. Like people like say like you can't really understand what he's saying, or like I don't know what the fuck he's saying, or like when he does like his really emotional
Mm.
songs. But like I really hear what he's saying, and he really be saying some real shit. Like he really be talking, he really talking his shit. And I really fuck with that.
Yeah.
And his music makes me feel like good. Like Uzi's another person. I like when music makes me feel like when I listen to Juice WRLD, I feel like sad. I feel like there's hope, and I feel like there's gonna be a positive outcome. When I listen to Uzi, I feel like
Yeah.
a king. Like I don't know what it is about
Yeah.
Uzi's
Yeah.
music. It just makes me feel like I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like I love when like and like Kodak like it makes me just feel like I'm like hustling. I'm out here like about to just make a
Yeah.
bag.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good way to describe you know, one of the things you said about Kodak. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was so accurate. But
Oh,
yeah, I
was
mean,
it versatility?
yeah, it was something along those lines. But regardless, I mean, one of the yeah, I was curious just because I hear a lot of rappers say that Kodak's their favorite rapper.
Really?
So Yeah, bro. Like Drake and Tory Lanez have both said that like Kodak is
Oh
one of, if
shit,
not their
bro.
favorite. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like I saw like multiple, and these are dudes that I
They
really
know what's
like.
up. They know
So
what's up.
exactly, they make great music. So them saying that Kodak's their favorite, is like that. That's what actually drove me to start really listening more to him because I was kind of the same way where I kind of wrote him off. I listened to him first in high school. He had his hits, um, and then I didn't really rock with him after that. But then I listened to his latest project, and that put me on board
Oh my god,
after,
his latest pro. He has not been missing this year. Like the last 2 years,
yeah,
ever since he came out of jail, he does not miss. Like I mean, he was my most
yeah,
streamed artist for like him and YoungBoy were my most streamed artists for
yeah,
like my whole life until Juice WRLD popped up.
yeah,
And like and Uzi probably. It's funny. Like I have a really like broad taste of music, but with hip hop, like, I listen to all types of different hip hop artists. Been diving into
uh,
R&B though and pop. Fucking
yeah,
impressive more.
yeah. Me too. I'm definitely like enjoying more genres now. I feel like that's a good way to, keep your creativity up and like
Hmm.
keep your love for the music up. Because it can get really, really bland really
But then you hear
fast.
like, oh damn, this also sounds good, and this doesn't sound like what I just made or like what I just listened to.
Mm.
So I gotta listen to SZA's new album. That's one thing I gotta check out.
Me too.
Check that
I
out.
always, yeah, 100%. Yeah. R&B too. Like, I have my R&B artists that I like, but there's so many big ones that I don't listen to, like SZA. Like, I mean, I've heard some of her stuff and she's great, but really, like, taking my time with
And
those
diving
albums,
in. I
exactly,
hear
when
her
I know I
features a lot
should.
of her big songs. Like
Yeah.
those ones are fire. Like the one she has with Kendrick is fire. Which is a few with Kendrick, but all of them are fire.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
If I'm not
Yes. Those are so
mistaken.
well produced
The
too.
one off the I was the first one I was thinking of was the one off the Black Panther album. That
Yeah,
one
me too. Yeah, they killed it.
album was
Um,
fire.
yeah, that album is so well produced, man. It's one of my favorite, like produced, like
For
some
soundtracks
of
for
those
like a
songs.
movie, it's one of my favorite
Yeah, man, it's
soundtracks.
so crazy.
Same with the Creed soundtrack. Mike Will did his thing on that for real.
Oh yeah,
That
bro.
soundtrack is
No,
so
that's
fire.
underrated. I think that's honestly an underrated
Like
soundtrack.
seeing him do that for Creed is what made me like want to like executive produce a song, an album for a movie.
Right.
Because that not only was like every song on there like so the beats were fire, the songs were fire. I was like I fuck with like the vibes. It was like a real album. It was like not like it was like scoring and everything. Like obviously there's scoring that goes into the movie, but like the
Yeah,
album was like stuff you would just listen to in your car. I love movies that have
bro.
albums like that.
Exactly, man. I feel like bro, 100%. I feel like what he did with it was like he was able to take that, the movie has a story and then have that story kind of displayed throughout the album
Spire.
is and yeah, and the production. I mean, the production was crazy. And you're right. I feel like he did open up almost like a new door to just like here's what a movie soundtrack could sound like. And then, you
It was the
anyways,
perfect
I
movie for it
watched.
too. The perfect movie for it. Like
Oh,
Creed
bro,
was the perfect movie for that.
I think I watched number two in theaters and I was just like mind blown at just like how that soundtrack was bumping in the
I wish I
theater. Like
heard it in the theater. I watched it at
bro,
home, the first and second one.
yeah, I watched the first one at home and then, but it's just, anyways.
It's like Creed 3, right? Or is it out yet? I think it's
I don't
coming
think
out.
it's, I don't know when it's coming out actually. It's a good
Creed's
question.
a
I know it's,
great series, bro.
it really is, bro. Couple things I want to touch on. Developing artists. This is something I'm super passionate about. I care a lot about. I think a lot of producers have it kind of like destined for them almost to explore at one point or want to explore.
It's a big thing.
Um, it is. So I'm actually really curious about this, man. If you had an artist, if you were given an artist who was, let's say, pretty damn talented in like a certain subgenre of rap, let's say, okay? What would you, but he has like no followers now. He just starting. Like he doesn't even have songs out. He's got like his demos. And he wanted you to just like kind of take care of his career and produce and shit and like not only produce but also manage, okay?
Okay.
Obviously all very hypothetical, but really what I'm trying to get at here is I want artists to be able to hear what you would say or any producer because I think producers have good insight on this. What would you kind of go and do with that person's career if you had the chance? And I'm not saying you have all the answers, but what would you do?
Um, I guess I could bring from example. I'm kind of working on in real life, not managing. Like I'm producing for him, like a lot, like my homie Ty from 1500. Like I'm producing for him, not managing.
Right.
But we talk about ideas and like how we could like what we could do to like because like our goal is like obviously we're all trying to go, but I'm really trying to like he's so far. Like I always tell him like you need to blow up. Like there's no way you're not blown up already.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we've been talking about, I've been telling them like the algorithm on TikTok is so important because like Lassie is a great example. I heard a story, I forgot where I heard this from, but Lassie, you know who Lassie is? You heard of Lassie?
Lossy.
He's like he's still upcoming, but he makes like he calls it sex and B music.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
okay.
like R&B like but like just new, and it's like it's fire. It's like 80s
Mm-hmm.
R&B but like just new. And
Mm-hmm.
he would just like I heard he posted on TikTok like once a day until it caught the algorithm, and then when it caught the algorithm it was over. And me and my
Mm-hmm.
homie, like he has fire songs himself, and we have fire songs we've done together. And I'm like, bro, just
Yeah.
post on TikTok. The biggest thing is just post on TikTok until you catch the algorithm. And also, you drop music, yes, but if there's that song that you think can be blow up, post that on TikTok. Post all of them on TikTok, but post that one on TikTok, but post it as an original sound. Don't drop it yet. Like, this is to all artists if you're doing this. And I learned this from I think from a few people that I've had like conversations with and how like figure out how to drop music and promote on TikTok. The best way is to take an original song, take a section of the song you want to use for a clip, to upload to TikTok and just make skits until other people start making skits until until it
Yeah.
starts blowing up. And then when people start saying, where's the song? What's the song called? Then drop it, drop a new skit. Because in the first week of a song is the most important time of a song, especially on Spotify, because when like playlisting happens, all that other shit, like organic, like when it happens organically, not when like people put it there specifically because it's blowing up, but when it's organic. Then you drop it, and then you just keep posting skits and let the algorithm work, and then see how your Spotify. And if you're independent, you could see like if you do this consistently, and you could see thousands of dollars in your distro kit or your TuneCore, whatever you use. So, and that's
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like that's the easiest way right now to blow up as an artist or as anything is through TikTok, and also just because of like it's free. It's free. You could pay for promotions on TikTok, but you don't even need to. You just need to have
Mm-hmm.
the right. You just need to have consistency, and then have a product that you know like will catch the algorithm when people hear it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be like the biggest advice I would give an artist, or if I was managing an artist, what I would help them do. And obviously, I would
Mm-hmm.
try and like use just connections you can connect people with, and but that's really big. And also, if you can like stack up money for just consistent music videos and drop visuals, and even if they're not like the craziest, just have like just unique like there's like I see videos on Twitter all the time where I just see like an artist sitting in a cool space, like the colors are nice, what he's wearing matches the background, like everything's aesthetically pleasing. So before I even
Mm-hmm.
hear it, I'm like, I want to like I when rappers post, and some rappers will like big rappers will post a tweet, and then some rappers underneath it would post clips of like them rapping, like fuck with
Mm-hmm.
this or just fire or like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like most of the time I don't go by, but if I see something that like catches my eye before even hearing, I'm like, let me hear what the sounds like. And the next thing you know, I'm watching, and then I'm DMing them, trying to send them beats because I think it's fire.
Yeah.
I feel
100%.
like that's also really important. Just having like stuff that looks good doesn't always be crazy and be like the highest budget. If it just looks good, aesthetically pleasing, it's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could literally do like so many music videos of just like cool lyrics popping up, and you're just sitting there and like you could be like sitting there smoking a joint or just like something. But if it just
Yeah.
looks good, and and if the music sounds good, that's really the most important thing. Because then
Yeah.
people are gonna forget about like wanting to see a crazy video and just be listening and reading the lyrics and singing this cool thing, and like maybe people are walking by you and some little shit in the background's happening, but the focus is the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics.
I totally agree, man. And yes, like I think it totally encompasses it, because if you can catch their attention, right, and then that's one thing. But if the music's not good, then catching it only gets you so far.
Yeah,
But
and
if
then
you
people
can
are gonna
catch
like
their
click off.
attention, exactly, yeah. So if the music's good and you can catch their attention, that's the best. Like that is the ultimate goal. Um, you know, yeah, that's really that, and that I totally agree with that original sound. That's really interesting though. I didn't know, like I didn't consider like actually kind of building a demand for it and then dropping it. I've seen artists do that, but it seems like, I mean, obviously it takes a lot of effort and all that, but it's one of those things where like if you know you have like
Yeah,
a
if you
really
have a
fire
hit, if you
song,
know because you know when you
yeah,
have one. And like
yeah,
and I also am not saying like don't drop music, don't just do that with everything. Still drop music,
yes,
drop shit on SoundCloud, all DSPs, still have stuff drop, but do that with that one. Or if
yes,
you have more than one, if you have more than one, it's even better. Then you can just have
yes,
then you can have different skits of different things going at the same time, or just focus on one at a time, and then drop. Then you have drops. Then you can start planning drops, start planning videos,
mhm.
all that shit. Then you get a
Yeah, and
fan
I've
base.
exactly, man, and that's the thing with TikTok too, that it's in Instagram and certain other platforms aren't as forgiving when A, if you get shadow banned, and B, if you like if you're posting a lot or whatever, like TikTok is so good with their algorithm, where if one post doesn't do well, it doesn't mean all the rest are going to start performing
Mm-hmm.
poorly. You know, it's just like you can literally post like a million posts and it's not going to start putting your account in like a bad standing or
Yeah,
whatever.
you won't get like shadow banned or some shit. Like
Yeah,
Instagram
like
be
I
doing
know.
that so much.
Oh,
Instagram be doing that
Instagram's so
so
quick.
much. I don't fuck with that shit. I don't like how Instagram does that.
I know people on TikTok have complained about shadow banning, but when I look at that versus Instagram, it's like it's not even like it's night and day. The
Because there's
Instagram
ways to
is
get
so
around
bad.
it. There's ways to get around
Yeah,
it, and
yeah,
like
and at
Twitter's good at
yeah,
that too. Twitter, you don't really get shadow banned on
Twitter's
Twitter.
good. Yeah, Twitter's good with that too. I agree. Um, okay, man, tell me more about Insidious and like just kind of how that journey kind of came about, and then where you are right now with it, because I know you just wrapped up filming. Is it, or you wrapped up
I
more?
wrapped up like early this end of summer, like during
Okay,
the end of
got you,
summer,
got you.
and
Hmm.
man, that was such a blessing. Like not even just being in the fifth one, just being in the first two was such a blessing because I never really know what shit's gonna do for you. And as a kid, I
Right.
never really knew like how big Insidious was. People really see it as like their favorite horror movie. It's such a big movie. I'm so grateful to be a part of it because I never really understood like how big it really was until I got older and like got out in the real world and I went to college and saw how people would act.
Yeah.
And I told them about it. I'm like, damn, like people really fuck with this movie. Like people really like this movie.
Yeah.
And then coming back for the fifth one when they like gave me the opportunity to come back, I was like, man, and it's crazy because the whole time I was like the past 6 months before they asked me to come back, I was at music school and you can ask anyone there. I was saying the whole time like, damn, I don't know how, but I'm gonna figure out a way to get back into acting. I was like, I really feel like I want to get back into acting, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's a big thing I could do also with music. Music is like I feel like it was calling me. I feel like I miss it. I need it, but I also want to do music. But I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But like I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna like get big off music and then get back into doing movies. And then as soon as I graduated, literally a week after, I was like on my way to Jake's studio, to Jake
Oh
Mark.
yeah.
I was on my way to
Yeah.
the studio, and I got like a little news. Like it wasn't confirmed, but it was just like a message saying that they were interested in me being in the fifth one. And I was like, whoa! I just
Wow.
found out about the fifth one like a day before this, or like not even
Wow.
like a week before. We were at school, and they're like, "There's gonna be a fifth Insidious." I'm like, I might not be in it because I know I haven't been in the third or fourth one, but
Right.
maybe it'll be cool. It'll be cool. It'll be amazing. They brought me back, and then when they did, I was like, wow! Like
Yeah.
I feel like I low-key manifested in a way because I kept talking about it so
Yeah.
much.
Sounds like it, man. Yeah.
But it was like it's such a blessing, and then now that I can like come back and actually start acting again, auditioning again, and then got my agent. I have the same agent when I was a kid. Like they've been with me this whole time,
Okay.
and now they've been back submitting me. And I told them I'm because they just been waiting. They're like, well, we're just waiting till you're ready,
Oh
and now I'm
wow.
finally
Okay.
ready. And then auditioning is almost so much easier now too. You can just like do it from your own apartment. Like, you don't even have to go outside to audition. You can just send in
Mm,
tapes.
that's awesome.
So I'm really excited to just be back doing it. I'm really excited to see like what next year could bring. Because I went on like a few auditions when I came back, but like it was so slow because the end of the
Mm.
year. But next year I'm excited from February because that's when it should start starting back up. I'm gonna get the hiccups.
No, you're good. What do you mean by February? Like what?
Like that's
What's
because
starting
the
back?
acting business always just goes like not dead, but like there'll still be some auditions. But like if you're like not like a huge actor, like sometimes shit will just like slow down because people are
Mm.
holidays, everything. No one's really doing like a lot of work. But
Right.
then like January starts to pick back up a little bit, but February really picks back up, and then like auditions are back, and like
Mm.
it's the same thing as music. Like all you need is that one thing, and it's really the same as music as a producer because you send beats out, you don't get a yes or no, you just get a yes when you find out. There's no no. No one ever says, "Oh, we're not
Yeah.
using this beat. We're not going to use this
Yeah.
one."
Yeah.
It's just a yes or nothing. And same with
Yeah.
auditioning. Like you go in there and you send now you just send it in, you send in a tape, and it's just either you get a callback or you get something, or you just never hear
Right.
from them until you get audition again. So
Wow.
it's like it's really similar low key with that, and it's the same thing how you get that one. All you need is that one song or like that one
Mm.
artist that you and him just break out and make crazy shit together. That one movie, that one show that just like puts you in like the spotlight and like more people want to work with you.
Yeah.
So it's all about just throwing darts at a dartboard until one hits the center type shit.
Yeah. Well, see that, and that's actually what I was like, literally, as you were describing it, started to think about right before you said it. Is like that's a really good way to describe it, and I think that's where I kind of want to get into. What do you do when? Because one of the things that you're describing is present in both of the industries that you're in. So, and it's something that I've noticed, at least in the music industry, that some people, it really bums them out. Like it can really, really get to them. Now, I know obviously other people, they're cool, they're good. But if you're in two industries where it's like it's a bunch of just, throwing a bunch up, and obviously you're doing deliberate practice here, but do you get into these, moments where you're like, damn, like, things are not, things are slowing down to the point where I'm kind of starting to doubt something here.
Mm.
And if you do get into those moments, what do you usually do?
Definitely, I definitely could find myself in moments like that. I feel like I'm blessed because I dealt with it a lot as a kid with the acting, and like I would go on like 8 auditions a day sometimes and not book anything, or sometimes I'd book two, or sometimes I'd book one, or sometimes I get a lot more than that. But so I'm
Mm-hmm.
used to like getting like nothing or getting yes. So and obviously throughout my music career so far, it's been like a lot of packs out. I've gone like some. I never heard any of my major songs, but I just know I have like some songs like with bigger artists. Only song I actually heard with a big artist is my famous Deck song. Because
Right.
luckily I was there in the studio when it happened, so they just airdropped it to me. But it was like
That's dope.
probably won't ever drop. But it's just cool that like damn, it's someone I
Mm.
used to listen to when I didn't make music. But like that's another thing too. You have to make sure shit drops. It's like that's another thing that acting doesn't even have. I just realized like yeah, you can book something and you know it's gonna unless it gets canceled. But usually shit will just still shoot. In music, you can get a song and then you can never hear it. It can never drop. It could get leaked and it never drops. Like there's so much stuff that goes into it as a
Yeah.
producer. But the best way I feel like if you get into those like funks where you just find yourself like uninspired, just try to find something that isn't like if you're a music producer, try to find something that can take your mind off. Like for me, like if I was like I'm feeling uninspired and I like wasn't like if whenever I feel uninspired with music or even acting, I always will either play some video games and get inspired that way, or I would just watch a movie or watch YouTube. But a lot of times I'd watch a movie because movies I get really inspired from because if I want to write a song, you could literally like I always say like a movie is like a expanded song and a song is like a condensed movie. They
Mm.
both work in the same thing because you can make a movie about a song and you can make a song about a movie and you can make a beat about a
Mm-hmm.
movie like that. Like so that's like the best way I would get inspired to like be like okay bet, and I'm gonna take the emotion I'm feeling of like getting all these nothings and then I'm gonna put that into the music and then I'll probably make something that I really like resonate with. And then
Mm-hmm.
that always would help me. So I'm like, damn, like fuck all the yeses and fuck all the nothings. At least I'm making something
Yeah.
I like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I think that's a really, good look at creative block too, and like using different things to kind of help your process rather than judging it. Cause it almost sounds like, some people when they get into their creative blocks, they call it out and they're like, oh, like I'm in a slump, I'm in this, I'm in that, and they get really down. But it sounds like you just kind of go with the flow and like,
you got to go with the
just
flow. Like you got
yeah.
to, even with life.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to. It's so important to be adaptable
Mm-hmm.
and like be able to just like go with the flow because like the flow can change and can be like a flow you're not rocking with. But if you can figure out how to manage yourself inside that flow and then be able to
Mm-hmm.
change it and come back to the flow you like it's really
Mm-hmm.
important. I feel like it's something I try to practice a lot and try to always stay like in like a good headspace. That's also really important.
Yeah.
Being in a good environment, a good headspace, and having people around you. It's so important to have good people around you, people that really care and that have your back.
Yeah, I think that's super underrated too. Like I feel like some of the best people I know and like most productive people I know, one of their one of the common things that I see is that the people around them are really like they keep they just it's one of those things. You're a product of your environment and they keep the right people around them to be who they are. So who do you kind of mainly, is it mainly friends that you're around, family that you're around that you would say, or is it just a combination of everybody that kind of makes you who you are?
Um, so only family I really have out here in LA is like blood families, like my mom, my my dad, and my sister. And like also like I got he's not my blood brother, but like he might as well be my blood brother. Like we grew up together. Like he's like 8 years
Mm-hmm.
older than me, but like he's always been so close to me and my family ever since we were a kid. But
Right.
he's not
Yeah.
even in LA no more. He's in Dallas, but he was out here for a long time. He went to Dallas last year. But like the main people I keep around me, like obviously I'm around my mom and my dad a good amount of time, my sister. But I
Mm-hmm.
spend a lot of my time with like the homies like that I make music with. And I was saying like they're not even from LA. Like we're all like not like I'm not even from LA. Like even though I grew up here, I'm not from LA.
Right.
But I also don't rep Arizona like that. I don't really rep anything. I just rep myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But so I spend like a lot of time with them. Like if I'm in the studio, I usually be with the same like group of people. Like we like to keep that shit really tight. Like we like to bring new
Right.
people in, but like because but like sometimes new people just don't work. Like so some people just don't mesh. But what I look like about the people I'm with, we're really we're really good at adapting to different situations. Like all of us, like can adapt to
Mm.
different types of people. Like some people
Right.
we'll bring around and we can adapt to them just because like they're just like so like just they're just like they're unadaptable. You feel me? We're like really like we
Right.
can handle different types of all types of different people, bring different types of artists and people. That's why I really like the people I'm around because if I have like a manager from like New York or something, I want to bring him to the studio. I trust that the people I'm around are not going to fuck up the situation or make it weird because I've been in times like studio etiquette is so important.
So important.
It's so important. I've seen some crazy stuff happen in studios. I'm like, bro, I question people. I'm like, where's your brain?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm like,
Yeah.
because I went to school, like they taught us studio etiquette, but also I didn't really. There's some stuff I'm like, okay, I didn't know that, but there's some stuff that's just common sense. But maybe just for me,
Mm.
I'm just like, come on, like like how to be a fly on the wall. You gotta learn how to be a fly on the wall sometimes, and
Yeah.
just or be a sponge and soak in the knowledge and not really like try to overstep. So
100%.
I'm really like grateful for like the people I have around me. Like it's a bunch of musicians, and I have like some homies that don't make music at all. Like I put maybe a handful of them in LA that like are real and I really fuck with. So I try to
Mm.
make time for them, but it gets hard sometimes because the business gets so like busy. But I
Mm.
really fuck with them because they like they always know like how shit is, and they're always there for me when I need them. And I also made some real homies in college that I
Right.
rarely get to see, but man, they're like some of the realest people too. At college, like I only went there for half a semester, but I met some of the realest people in my life there.
Mm.
Like real people. They're just so far away. It's hard to see them. They're like an hour and a half for me. Not that far,
Yeah.
but it's
But
like
still,
it's
enough,
hard when you
enough.
got to go to
Yeah.
the studio.
No, I'm the same way. I have a couple homies that are like just about that far, and we're real close, but it's just one of those things, you know.
It's
So,
hard. You would think they're
um,
in like a different state. Like,
exactly, man. It's ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous. So, okay, one of the things you touched on here is what makes someone adaptable, or I want to ask about it, but you know, what makes someone unadaptable, rather? So, you talked about having people in the studio, and you think you and your, you know, your squad is pretty. You guys are very adaptable to many situations, which is a huge advantage for you guys. But what makes someone like if they come into the studio, what kind of characteristics or things do you see that just like okay, they're the ones that are unadaptable. It's not us. Like it's it's them.
when I'm like, the biggest thing is like I'll notice is like because when we bring someone who in my opinion is unadaptable, if it's just like me and like maybe like two or three of my homies and like just them, it usually will work out because we're like, okay, we see how this type of time this person on, we're just gonna we'll just make sure because the biggest thing for us is studio energy. You can't
Right.
make good music when people are walking on eggshells with people or like when there's bad vibes or people are just acting weird. Like you're not gonna make good music. It's gonna be weird. You're gonna
Yeah.
make weird music. You're not gonna make good music.
Facts.
So we always try. So even if someone is acting like we know we're not gonna bring them back, but we're gonna make sure it's okay in that moment, so we don't ruin that connection with them. So just in case, you never know. It's always good to keep bridges
Mm,
alive. Never burn a bridge unless someone burns it with you. That's how I think. Like don't burn a bridge with
mm.
someone unless. But some people you got to recognize they burn it with you, and you got to burn that bridge. It's also a big
Yeah.
thing. So,
Right. Right.
but I notice it a lot though when we're like in a session where it's like me and my people, but then we have other people like from like, people that don't know each other, but we both bring them at the same time, like producers or an artist or producer, whatever it is, and they come and we see like how they're interact, how then we see how it's going because then now it's two people we don't really know that well, so we don't know how it could go. Two different types of people,
Mm,
personalities, and I see sometimes how people can be and like can act, and I'm like, bro, like, and like there's been one time where like we had a session, and then when the dude that was acting really like just unadaptable, I guess could be the word. When he left, the dude was leaving like, yo, you don't know that dude? And we're like, nah, like we just like this is our first time cooking up with him. He's like, bro, that dude was like giving me really weird energy, and I was like, he was giving us all weird energy. I was like, people pick up on that
uh,
shit, like, and the dude that
yeah.
was picking up on that was like a pretty big dude, like he was a pretty big producer,
Mm,
and it's really important. Like people pick up on energy, like you energy like and energy is more important than what you say. Like what you do and how you act and how you move is more important than what you say because actions speak louder than words.
mm,
So if you're
mm,
saying one thing but you're acting a different way, people won't realize that. Like
mm.
99% of people are gonna pick up on that.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah. That's
I
real.
pick up on shit really easily. Like I feel like I get that from my mom. Like I pick like the way I pick up on energy and like the way I can feel it. Like you can really feel it. You can really feel when
Mm,
something is not right. But
yeah.
it's important to also just keep the bridge alive and like not burn it.
For sure.
Because you never know. You never know when you could need anyone in your life. And if
Hmm.
you just water those plants when you need those plants, they're gonna be flourishing.
Consider, let's say a producer has like the basics, like let's say they have a laptop, they have headphones, like okay, laptop, headphones, a DAW, and like some sounds. What would you say? Maybe even no sounds. I don't know, like a couple, nothing crazy. What would be the first kind of like investment you would say if they wanted to start taking it more serious?
Um, it's a good question. I guess the first investment I made really was buying Omnisphere and buying FL. So getting those first, like I know a lot of people crack a lot of things. I mean, like everyone does it, but I
Mm-hmm.
would never crack a DAW. I feel like that one thing you want for sure. I would say if you
Right.
have to, just do it. Do whatever you got to do. But when you can finally do it, invest and buy FL Studio because you're gonna just want that so you can upgrade, go to other way of like downgrade if you want to go before FL21, all that. Like I feel like it's important, and also just like invest like don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Like if there's something you need that you think is going to be beneficial for you, like a really good drum kit or like really good VST or like some software, like a good mic or whatever you need. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. And if you have to make sacrifices because it's important. Like if it's really what you love. I don't think there's anything in particular I would say get. I feel like it's so like it's different for everyone because like
Right.
VSTs, there's so many VSTs you could get. You can get free VSTs, you get paid VSTs, you can get one shots. You don't even need VSTs.
Right.
But I mean, shit. If you're in LA and you think you're good, I feel like the best thing if you can afford it is or get a scholarship is trying to get some time at like even a month at 1,500 because that would build your network. And
Mm.
I feel like the biggest thing is having a network, especially in LA, is finding people to like build with. Even if you do it online, like if you don't live in LA, like just finding ways to find artists, even if it's not through 50 going to music school. There's a way you can like invest yourself, even if it's to book a session.
Mm-hmm.
And because I feel like that's the best way I've networked with people is when I took like in money and invested to book a session for like 12 hours. I feel like
Mm.
that's always been the best time for me to network because I feel like it's way easier to get people to pull up to a studio than to pull up like in music than anywhere else. Whenever I invite people to the studio, they're always down unless they're busy. But it's like way harder to like because I don't want to bring people to my crib. Also, like I feel like it's also a really like weird thing for people to come
Yeah.
over to my crib unless I really fuck with them.
Mm.
But like,
Yeah, I
especially like
agree.
having
Yeah.
sessions, I've done that when I first moved in. It was like the worst. People just don't
Yeah.
respect your place. So it's like I can't have that.
Yeah. 100%.
So like investing and finding like a space you can work in, and like being able to like to have like if you can't be loud because like sometimes I can't be loud, so I got to use headphones to cook up. Like having good headphones is really important too. Because I didn't know
Yeah.
this, but some headphones don't give you raw audio. Like some headphones will have an EQ or have some kind of something in it that will change it and it will sound differently. But I feel like if you can find raw headphones, like these I have, fuck, their Audio Technicas are really good.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
But I
fire.
even
Yeah.
used these for so long. Apple earbuds are my favorite thing to cook up on for like, they
Mm.
still are sometimes. So
Mm.
finding like, and just doing like investing in just like different like ways you can learn too. It's so important to learn. So if you can like, there's stuff online, but most of the stuff you can learn for free. Really by just investing time. That's the biggest thing you could invest is your time.
Right. So now in your producing, would you say you're like, do you make a lot of samples right now? Or are you mainly focused on beats? Are you mainly focused on like just being in sessions and making beats in those sessions? Um, like, is there a main focus you have right now producing wise?
It's kind of like all three of them is my focus because I love to and that's the one thing I'm gonna do in January. I'm about to be dropping loops because I feel like because people every time I'm in the studio with people are like, "You make such good loops and you make so many loops. Like, why don't you ever send them to people?" I'm like, "Well, because I
Mm-hmm.
either am lazy and I just use them for myself, or I make a
Yeah.
whole beat and I forget to export the loop and I just export the beat."
Mm-hmm.
But I also use loops a lot. I don't. I feel like it's so fun to use loops. You get different sounds and stuff like VSTs you don't have that people use to make loops. I love using loops, and especially when
Mm-hmm.
you're in sessions, that shit makes you go by so fast.
Yeah.
If you're like in a studio with artists, you just need to cook up something quick, easy. Got the loop, put the drums on, maybe add some counter melodies, done. So I feel like
Mm.
I'm focused kind of like on all three of them. But I feel like my out of the three, my biggest focus would be either being in the right sessions or sending loops out. I feel like for those are the three. Because if you make good quality loops and you are organized and you actually are making them.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get loops they don't even make. I
Yeah.
remember I saw like have you seen that Turbo interview? He was talking about like people would send him loops and he would ask for the stems and they couldn't send it.
Oh wow, that's
I'm like,
crazy, bro.
so if you're one of the people like, which not everyone's doing that, but like if you're
Yeah.
one of the people making your loops and you're really good at it, like send that shit because someone's gonna use it and like be
Mm-hmm.
consistent and like trying to get in contact with people. But if you're in
Is that what?
LA, what?
Mm-hmm.
I was
No,
just say
no.
if you're
Go
in
ahead. Go
LA,
ahead.
like the biggest thing is being in the room. Like if you're in LA or you're in a city like Atlanta, there's so many sessions in Atlanta or like New York. I don't really know how like other states are, but like, LA, I know for a fact like there's so many studios with opportunities. If you can get in the room or just get in the room. That's so important. Just
Yeah.
getting in the room.
When you say staying organized, is that what you mean? Like with staying in contact with people as a if you're a loop maker or a sample
That
maker,
too.
sending.
That counts as staying organized, and also just having like your like files organized. So like when people ask you to send something, you have 2 hours. In my mind, you have 2 hours is a long time. It's probably too much time, but you have 2 hours to send that until people are like, nah, like I forgot. Like not all the time it would be like that, but that's how it can be. Like if
A
someone's like,
hundred
when someone
percent.
like I would people would ask me to send some shit, and I would lag. And like that's one thing I've noticed I need to stop doing that. When people ask like if an artist or producer ask me to send something, do that shit right then and there, if you're able
Yes,
to. And if you're not, do that shit as soon as you can, and don't take two
bro.
hours to do it.
That's the biggest thing I learned, and I didn't even like. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I once I started to understand the industry more, I started to learn that better. But especially now with how quick people work and how it can literally be like a bigger producer in the studio, he hits you up and he's like, "Yo, I need loops for so and so right now." Like
So that
it's
shit
if you
ASAP,
can exactly like
because
if you
someone else
can be the
will.
guy
Someone else will
exactly if
send
you
it.
can be the guy that's like there 9 times out of 10, right? Even eight
Mm-hmm.
times out of 10, like bro, I was there for someone like not even probably once or twice. I could probably say once. Like he basically asked for a certain type of loop. I told him I got him. I went home, and even I remember that night too. I was like super tired, so it was more than that. I was really exhausted over a bunch of things, and my homie was there, and I told him, "Yo, like this producer just hit me up for loops for this person." He's like, "Bro, go home right now and fucking grind. Like, do more than like I already. I was like, I'm gonna do it, but he's like, bro, no, like you need to fuck. Like, I know you're gonna do it, but go crazy. I was like, all right, whatever, bro. I went. I like spent all not all my energy, but a good chunk of my energy doing these crazy. It was like 4 loops, but they were like full on compositions
It's
and shit.
fire.
Yeah, man. And bro, it was the first time I can say that I've been asked like that quickly and that I like delivered that quickly with the quality I did. And the next morning I woke up to like I'm not gonna fully go into it, but it was like the biggest
No,
opportunity
I
I'd
feel
had
you.
up till
So you
you
never
know what I
know what can
mean?
happen with being consistent. It's so important.
Exactly, bro. And that's the thing. I was kind of worried about like, oh, will I be able to have like the quality I need? Like, you know, tonight, like I don't know, I'm exhausted. I hope I can. And at the end of the day, like I knew I had to send it because I told him I would. So I had to make something. I made what I made, and I worked hard on it. But it was really the speed and the fact that I just actually responded in a timely manner that gave me the opportunity.
It's important to do that.
So
That's
yeah,
what
man.
like the biggest thing. Like I usually don't really do New Year's resolutions, but this year I've noticed I need to fix a lot of things. So like starting next year, there's one thing I really want to do is like be so consistent to a point where people are like, damn, like he's busy as fuck, but he can reply, he can send shit when I ask him. Like I want people like to. It's really important. If you're known as that type of person, people
Yes.
are going to respect that, and people are going to count on you and like ask you for shit more than they
Mhm.
would if you weren't like that.
Yeah, man, I've learned yes, and it's so important. Like when I look at it from the perspective of just being a professional, and when you look at it like that, it kind of changes things. Because even I think it's just a matter of just being in an art or a creative endeavor. Like if you were in business, or a business type of ordeal or a job, like, if your boss asks you for something, you're not going to send it like 3 days later,
Yeah,
if
you're
they
gonna do
need
that
it
shit as
like
soon as you can. It's your job. You get
exactly,
fired if you
right?
don't.
Yeah,
So if you
exactly.
think of this
So
shit like a job, I don't make music a job. Like I don't feel like it should ever feel like a job.
yeah, yeah,
But
but
think
being
of it like a
professional,
job
yeah,
in a way. Like in those
yes,
sorts of ways. Like be professional. Feel like damn, like I don't want to get fired.
exactly, yeah. Like I think that's really the best way because I agree. Where
I
if
never
I
thought of
put
that.
it the other,
That's a good point.
yeah, man. No, I feel like I've heard it put before, and people kind of get put off by it because then it's like it shouldn't feel like a job and shit. And it's like okay, fair. So, but I do think like being a professional, like I think that's definitely the best way to kind of approach it in a like all encompassing way. If you're in doubt, favorite VSTs, like top 5, let's
Ooh,
say. Yeah, and it can
I
be
got
any,
my
like it
FL
can be
right in front of me
mixed.
so I can look.
Let's go. Yeah.
I feel like Expand got to be up there because I got it for $10. I don't know how much it is right now, but I got it for $10.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Expand is
I
crazy.
think it's more expensive now because the price went up, but it is such a good VST. It's like such a not you don't have the most presets, but you can always make your own presets and download
Yeah,
banks. But for the stock presets, it's like almost every preset is so fire. And like
yeah.
you can make little baby type beats, you can make young boy type beats, you can make ambient, you can make yeet type beats, you can make all types of beats in there. There's so many different
Mhm.
sounds. Another one I really like is Zebra 2. I don't know if you've heard of Zebra
Oh
2.
yeah,
That's
bro. It's
fire. Not a lot of people know
underrated
about
for
that one.
sure.
And
Yeah.
if you, I can send you some banks. I got hella good banks for that shit.
Bro, please do,
I
because
got you.
I only, like, I don't use it. I just know of it because I remember. Long story short, I remember Hans Zimmer using it for like The
Oh
Dark Knight,
really?
and I was like,
What
yeah,
the
bro. And it,
fuck?
I think it was Zebra. I'm like 99% sure it was Zebra. It was Zebra something. It
There's
was
Zebra
either
Lead and
Zebra.
Zebra. Z. It's probably Zebra 2. Zebra 2 is the best one.
Yeah. So he even has his own bank. That's like the
I think
sounds
I
he
have
made
that
for.
one. I think I have that
Bro,
one.
yes, yeah, that's real. Like he used that shit in the movie. Like he was
It's
really
funny.
going crazy with Zebra. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
there's
cool
hella banks.
because
So fire. Zebra 2 I love. The banks make it really good though. I'm not gonna lie. The
yeah,
banks make it really good. People hate on it, but I love Omnisphere. I use it all the time.
yeah.
Serum's amazing. What's that for? What
Mhm.
else do I really use? The Roland in general. Roland. If
Ooh.
I would delete every VST I have and just use Roland Cloud because you get. I'm gonna get Roland Cloud hopefully soon,
Mm, mm,
over the next month or two. It's you have to pay monthly for it. There's different
mm.
plans, but if you can do it, get the most expensive plan and pay for it by the year because you won't need any other VSTs because you get like so many VSTs, so many sounds, and all types of different sounds. Like so much. Roland is really like the best company in my opinion. Like they
Yeah,
have like the best stuff. And
I'm
people,
gonna
you're
have
probably
to look
surprised I didn't
into
say
it.
Contact, but I do not. I like
Yeah,
Contact, but I do not like trying to figure out how to use Contact. Like trying to, I don't know what it. I don't know if it's I don't have space or storage, but trying to
yeah,
install that shit is so confusing. My homie gave me his info and I used his contact just to try
yeah,
it out, and it was like fucking confusing as hell.
yeah.
But the
I
sounds are
find
so
that.
good though. The sounds are so good. Though.
Yeah, the sounds are amazing. The banks are great. I totally agree. I find with Contact, if you have an issue, and it's usually an in installation
It's
issue, at least
always
where
for
I've had
me.
it, bro, it's hard to solve. Like the issues that I've had with Contact, the ways that I've solved them have been so weird and obscure, and like taken weeks of like scouring through the most, like
YouTube videos trying to figure out how to figure this shit out. Like I feel you.
yeah, man. And then the fix is so ridiculous. It's not even like you try to contact them, they can't explain it. They
Try to
like
contact.
exactly. You try to
They can't
contact
help you.
and it just gets too much for them. That's too much.
Yeah, that's why I'm like,
Um,
I'm just gonna wait till I get a whole new desktop and then try because I'm like, I have just too much
for
shit
sure.
on here.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah, laptops. Yeah. No, that's a really good list, man. I'm definitely gonna look into Rolling Cloud because I think I looked into it once and I never actually followed through with like
Have you
purchasing
heard
it
of
or anything or like
Xenology?
trying it. I've heard of it, but I
That's
maybe I
in the
used it
Rolling
once,
Cloud.
but
That's in the Rolling Cloud, and
yeah,
it's
fire.
so
Okay.
fire. It's like
Yeah.
Omnisphere for Roland. Like all the sounds you
No.
get will all go through Xenology, so you can just use one
Fire.
VST and have all of them.
That's cool. Okay, bet. I'll look into it. Um, all right, man. That kind of sums it up for me. I was gonna ask about your favorite producers. You can kind of and artists really. That is a good reminder. The artist thing I wanted to touch on because I do want to hear about the guys you're working with developing and like I'd like to hear their music if you
Yeah,
want to just
definitely.
kind of shout them out too. But also just I know we talked about Kodak and stuff, so maybe not. We don't have to get into that.
I love
But
Kodak.
yeah. But yeah, the artists you're working with, like I'd love to hear who they are and like what they're about.
So one artist, his name is Stash. It was by Stash Guapo. He is a independent fire artist. Makes like really cool ambient, wavy like space trap. I guess you could call it. You probably would describe it better.
Yeah.
Well, I've been locked in with him for like I think like oh wow, it's been almost a year now. That's crazy. I think I locked him like last November. So we've been like locked in ever since then, and like I fuck with him. He's got great energy, great music. I feel like the most important thing for me if I lock in with someone is you have like talented, of course, is important, but I always would
Mm,
rather work with someone genuine and like good people than talent. And if you have both, it's
mm,
like fuck yeah, let's go.
yeah.
And then my homie
Facts.
from 1500, Ty, he goes by Purple. His name was If Purple Was a Sound.
Mm-hmm.
fire upcoming artist. He's a little like Stash is probably like out of everyone like the like biggest like most like he has his shit like he already has shit going and like has shit has fans, has everything. But Ty's like up like I'm at 1500, like he's like so fire and he's like so low key right now, like doesn't have like
Mm-hmm.
a huge fan base, but like he is like he's someone like when I'm locked in with him, like I see him as like beat him like Juice WRLD Nick Beer vibes, like just like
Yeah.
we know what we like we know I always know what he's looking for, and like same with Stat, I always know
Mm-hmm.
what he's looking for, and like and then those are two really fire artists I fuck with, and then
Yeah.
my homie named Brandon, I bet him if he's a security guard at 1500, like he runs a security there, he's like the owner of the security company, but he's also like probably one of the best rappers I've ever met, like just straight
Yeah.
rappers. That's one thing about 1500. Everyone there does music, like from people working at the desk to teaching the class. Like everyone there does music, so you really never know who you're
Mm-hmm.
talking to. And like I linked up, gotten close with him, and he's fire. He's just really busy, so it's hard to lock in. But when we lock in, it's fire. And then those are like the three really main ones. I have like other artists that like are around me that I do want to work with more. Like some of my closest friends that like literally live in the same building as me. That live above me. It's like my
Mm-hmm.
homies, Sam, Chris, and Josh Garrison but Josh goes by Rookie as his artist name. And they're both really talented, just musicians, from producers to writers to artists, like really fire. And everyone I
Mm-hmm.
named is like can do all of it. Like Ty doesn't even need me, but he just fucks with me so much
Mm-hmm.
because he can produce fire beats, like really fire beats. But
Mm-hmm.
when we come together, we just make crazy shit together. And same with Stash,
Yeah.
he doesn't make beats, but he's like I've been like kind of showing him more, and he like has ideas for beats, and, like just doesn't know how to use the programs, which is cool as fuck.
Cool.
So those are really the main people I've been working with. Hope I didn't leave anyone out. There's so many artists like from 1500, just from all
Yeah.
over that like would love to lock in with. Just so hard with time and just not having the space. The biggest thing. If I had my own studio, it'd be a different story. It'd be a whole
Sure.
different story.
Yeah.
But,
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we go? Because I find like I'm asking all these questions, but if there's something I missed, like I don't want to do that. So,
I guess like not really. Like we feel like we went over everything. Just get
Yeah.
ready. Insidious 5 coming 2023. Go watch that when it comes
Yes.
out.
I keep forgetting to ask about, bro. Tell us about the Hangover.
Oh man, that was such like I was so young when I did that, but it was like such a fun
Yeah.
experience because I for some reason I remembered so vividly, and like
Right.
the people like those actors like the four main actors were like the most nice people. Like it was like right
Yeah.
before they really blew up, and they were like so genuine, and they were like they were just really nice people. Like Bradley Cooper was amazing. Zach Galifianakis was hilarious. All of them are great,
It's awesome. Yeah.
and it's something I think they should do a Hangover 4 for real.
They should, man.
And they should
They
hang out
don't miss
for.
with those. They really don't. They
That's
don't
one
miss
thing
with
I
those.
want to do when I get older. If I get the right connection, just like be like, say, hey,
Oh, that'd be fine.
say, man, I'm 21 now.
Yeah, for real.
I can have my own hangover.
Exactly. That would be so good, man. Oh my
That'd be
gosh.
hilarious. Go to like
That
Dubai
would be
or
so
something.
Yeah, like they'd literally have the footage of you from before. Just,
But
uh,
the Hangover was like really like it's crazy. Like so much stuff that I'm in. Like I'm so blessed to like be a part of certain things. Like with acting, like it all comes back to like be a blessing still. Like 10 years, 20 years later. Well, not 20. I'm not that old. Maybe like 15 years later.
yeah. Well, one of the things with being around all these like professionals in terms of acting and just in the film industry, is there, especially with the actors that I'm curious with, but are there things you've picked up from just even being on set and like seeing how certain actors will approach certain scenes, or are you not really around that as much and you don't like,
It was
how much of
harder
an
as
insight?
a kid, I feel
Right.
like, because I was like not too aware of certain things. I was kind of just I didn't really know what was going
Right.
on. I of
course, yeah.
thought I was just having fun. I was just being a kid.
Yeah.
But when I went to a film Insidious 5, now I'm an adult and I like see things from a whole different lens and everything. It's cool really to see how like they take like the work ethic really seriously and how they prepare and what they do to like help them get into the moment, and it helped me realize what I needed to do. And I think it made my experience like even better when I went to a film.
Yeah.
I feel like I was a way better actor now. I feel like because I feel like it's same with music. Like when you experience certain things, it's like how certain rappers like you have to have something. You can't just be a rapper. You have to have a life to rap about. That's what makes it entertaining.
Right.
placing my acting, like you have to have like a life to live and experience to pull emotions to get into that scene. Like when I was a kid, I didn't really experience life. I was kind of a kid, but then when I took
Right.
a break and experienced life, and seeing how these like older people older than me, like more professional actors than me, would like would go dive into those experiences to help them get into that mode for like the moment, really helped me
Mm.
like figure out how I can do the same thing.